A very good afternoon to you all. It's exactly 1 minute past the hour of 1, this 30th day of September 2022. Welcome to the Lunchtime News with me, Wadulo Mark Arnold. And these are your stories this afternoon. Now, it is pertinent that investors are assured of custodial services by financial institutions that hold securities for safekeeping. Custody business provides a range of securities services, including account maintenance, clearing and settlement, reporting, providing market news information, and corporate action. Some of the details in the story.
It's on ensuring that custodians are fit and proper, ensuring that the people being employed in the custodial function are actually fit and proper.
Stanbic Bank has held an inaugural investor services client engagement on emerging trends in the investor services business, aimed at sensitizing corporates on networking and engaging with each other.
For us, the reason for doing this today is basically about that awareness to say this part of opportunity of business also exists.
The investor services client engagement took into account the situation of evolving marketplace, changing customer behavior and technological disruptions and opportunities available in banking business.
If you think about custodial services, one of the major benefits from a macro perspective is it's a direct source of inflow of foreign exchange into the market.
This comes at a time when investors require bank services for domestic, regional and global custody, securities lending, trustee services, investment administration, insurer services and derivatives as an assurance that their assets are safe.
You cannot have, under those frameworks, a fund manager also offering custodial services is a big one in terms of investor protection.
Domestic custody is a key product in investor services, others being banking services, opening and maintaining accounts, securities and depositories, investment settlement, safekeeping, corporate action management, among others.
You want orderly market, you want transparency, you want the protection of the investor's interest.
Investor services providing administrative services on a transaction basis, fixed income, equity, money market, performing the functions of transfer agent and insurer agent are key to ensuring investor confidence.
We are being shifted to focus more on identifying relative value opportunities, asymmetric opportunities, developing strategies. We are being pushed away from trading back into strategy formulation. And for me,
I'm Nafka Farida, and Dewa Bimana.
Picked up in the last number of years.
In other news, the Ministry of Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees has flagged off a consignment of relief food aid for people who were severely affected by drought in Karamoja. We have some details.
We, the Ministry of Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, are flagging off food relief food items meant for the people who were severely food insecure. And these were affected by hunger in Karamoja sub-region. This is the food that was procured from the 20 billion, which was released this quarter, that the Office of the Prime Minister received this quarter out of the 135 billion approved by Cabinet for Karamoja food secure. The dry season in Karamoja sub-region started to unfold in December 2021, but however, it worsened in February 2022. As the Office of the Prime Minister, we immediately commenced relief of food distribution following early warning alerts from UNICEF at the beginning of this year. That is February, I think, and April, June, and July.
Kabong district, I want to say, has been hit by hunger. And indeed, a number of people have died. And up to date, many people are still suffering. So when the food is taken, it is going to solve, it is going to make sure that people will will break some poverty.
We have been able to dispatch 51,240 bags of maize flour of 50 kilograms each, and 25,620 bags of beans of 50 kilograms each to Karamoja sub-region. This is approximately 2,562 metric tons of maize flour and 1,281 metric tons of beans.
The challenge of food security has been so much on Kotoro district because we have lost many lives. But I think with the food that is coming now, it is going to save some lives. I want also to appreciate the intervention by government of the seeds. I know my people did not have the energy to cultivate these seeds, but I think this food is going to help them cultivate these seeds. These are short maturing seeds of beans, green ground beans and cowpeas. So I'm very grateful to the government of Uganda for responding really to the plight of the people of Karamoja, and more particularly Kotido.
In another development, the Chambogo University, in partnership with the African Leather and Leather Products Institute and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, have embarked on training of trainers for environmentally friendly skin and leather tanning skills as opposed to the present chemical chrome method. The first batch of the trainees have received their certificates of completion after a 10-day training hosted at the Chambogo University Department of Leather and Textile Technology. Have a look.
For quite a long time, Uganda's skin and leather tanners have been using the chemical chrome, which is considered detrimental to the environment. In order to reverse this scenario, Chambogo University, through its Department of Leather and Textile Technology, the African Leather and Leather Products Institute, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry have embarked on training series for modern leather tanners using the more environmentally friendly technologies from natural vegetables. The first batch started with the training of trainers who have been undergoing a 10-day training at the university. Officiating at the closing, the Assistant Commissioner in charge of marketing with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Cleopas Ndolelile, pledged his ministry's support to the program in view of the growing importance of the skin and leather tanning sector in the country.
As you know, today we are importing much of our leather from Kenya and other countries. So now we are in a position to start making our own leather. It's a very exciting beginning.
The head of the Leather and Textile Technology Department of Chambogo University, Professor Arnold Wadulo, revealed more research plans by the university for alternative natural leather tanning technologies.
In fact, Chief Guest, vegetable tanning is one of the aspects that we are interested in as a university in research. I personally, my area of research is in natural dyeing, natural products.
Some of the participants shared their views regarding the training.
Just a training that the local chemicals I was using before, it was taking more than like 3 months to get this product. Yeah, but this one here we have do it at 7 days.
And some customers, some clients, they need standards. But when you go to UNBS, they need each type of shoe to have its own standards, and you find the standards are very expensive for us to get them.
The African Leather and Leather Products Institute is a COMESA-wide institute with headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
To ALPI, African Leather and Leather Products Institute, we normally emphasize job creation, development of leather and leather products, as well as regional integration.
Uganda is the 7th member country to benefit from such training. Edward Colin Juko for UBC, Chambogo University.
In other news, 27 years down the road, the famous Global Beijing Women Platform of Action Conference of 1995, women in the media still suffer from marginalization and discrimination at the workplace, sexual harassment, low pay, among others. Now, this was revealed during a half-day dialogue on gender responsiveness of media organized by the Uganda Women Media Association in partnership with the Canada Fund for Local Initiative at Hotel Africana.
Women and gender responsiveness in the media was among the highlights of the famous Beijing Women Platform of Action conference 27 years ago in China. Despite the good positive resolutions and recommendations then, women in media globally still suffer from marginalization and discrimination at workplaces, sexual harassment, low pay, among others. These were some of the findings contained in a research study conducted by the Uganda Media Women Association UMWA with support from the Canada Fund for Local Initiatives and the Democracy Governance Facility, DGF. The findings were unveiled during a half-day dialogue at Hotel Africana in Kampala on gender media responsiveness 27 years after the Beijing Platform of Action. Margaret Sentamasagazi, UMWA Executive Director, called for more action to implement the Beijing resolutions 27 years down the road.
Trying to find out how far have we gone in this area and the wins that we have come up with. Yes, there are more women working in the media, more women enrolling in schools of journalism, but the content, the weight women are being portrayed, it is still stagnant.
Dr. Isha Nachuwal, acting head of Mass Communication Department, Makerere University, said that the curriculum of the department has been reviewed to include compulsory gender-responsive media reporting training modules.
These are the journalists of tomorrow, and if they do not understand how gender and gender equality impacts on media work, it becomes problematic to achieve, gender parity and gender equality, so to speak, in the media coverage and representation.
The chairperson of the Parliamentary Caucus on Media, Teddy Namboze, and the Commissioner for Gender, Dr. Angela Nakafero, pledged to support UMWA to realize the changes.
The acts are outdated, so we are looking forward from this dialogue to come over with points to stand on.
My humble request is to request the media houses to join us in terms of showcasing the business case of gender equality and women's empowerment in Uganda.
The dialogue attracted, among others, several gender rights activists, academicians, media practitioners, government regulatory agencies, politicians, to mention but a few. Edward Kolinjuko for UBC, Kampala.
And with that, let's take a short commercial break and be back with more news this afternoon.
October Bidel Musaba Gardens Mukono, October Mukaga Millennium Gardens Sazibuaya, October Munanaji Montelembara, 10 October, 40 Poto Muchisawe, Abidim Bi October, Bale Sports Center, Umtual Kumo, Yebem Tuale Santo, a meza million yemo, Wabla Tual Kumia, Abana tickets of Cosa M10 Momo, Banjagusa Sulan Comitano, Bidam Romo Center, Hiva Motors, Galaxy FM, Radio 4, Kawila War, TN. Saba Furu Balamo!
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift, buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
Uganda, the time is here to celebrate like never before. MTN and Talent Africa present Afro-Palooza Independence Weekend, 8th to 9th of October, featuring over 60 artists in a 2-day celebration of Uganda, including Rama, Maddox, Sauti Sol, Zex Bilanji, Janzi Band, Cindy, Winnie Nwaji, Finka, Maurice Curia, and a lot more. That's not all. Art and culture showcases, business expos, culinary experience. Yes, come get a taste of Uganda. Afro-Palooza is proudly brought to you by Talent Africa, Jameson, Now Special, Stanbic Bank, and MTN. Afro-Palooza, celebrating the Pearl of Africa.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Lunchtime News, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue here at Broadcast House. We now take you into more news this afternoon. Now, it's just over 6 months since MV Pamba resumed operations on Lake Victoria. The vessel, which is now back in business, has boosted the capacity to handle business. The business community, utilizing the Central Corridor, has hailed its return, but wants more vessels introduced on the route in order to meet the increasing demand for bulk cargo transport. Let's have a look.
The Chinese engineering company Mango Group that rehabilitated and returned MV Pamba back to the Lake Victoria routes is contented with its operations and service to the business community.
MV Pamba boasts of a capacity of up to 22 wagons, and versus the road that usually takes only about two wagons at a time. So imagine the time you need to take from Mwanza to Port Bill on the ship. It's much better because you'll have 22 wagons in one go. You'll be able to beat your service delivery to customer, timely delivery, name it.
With 2 return trips to the port of Mwanza in Tanzania from Port Bell in Kampala, the 21,000 tons capacity vessel is now the ship of choice for small-scale and large-scale entrepreneurs. Mulwana J. Peters and Sons Stores, that was relying on small but expensive vessels to import livestock feed from Mwanza, can attest to the benefits accrued.
So this cargo just came from Port Bell, but before Port Bell it was in Mwanza. From Mwanza it is here in Kisenyi. As you can see, it's in a cake form. It's called cotton seed cake. It is among the animal proteins that animals, so it's a vegetable protein that animals need to consume. So the other time when we met at Port Bell, we had used St. Matthew, the ship that's coming from Tanzania. But this time we've used Pamba. Pamba is a Ugandan ship. You saw how the commissioning happened with the Prime Minister.
The roll-on, roll-off cargo ship that can transport 1 million liters of fuel on a single trip charges less than half compared to other modes of bulk transport.
If you get it done properly, from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza, and you cross by water on Lake Victoria to Kampala, that shouldn't take even 2 days for the two. So your transport costs will be lower because on the other leg you have used the 2 cheapest means of transport.
Affordability in bulk transportation impacts positively on the profit margins of the entrepreneur.
It is safe. When you see transporting your cargo on water, there is nothing like a jam. The accidents are rare. That my cargo, I've got accidents, it has been spoiled. It it goes the way it is intact, and even it is faster because there is nothing like a jam of Namamve, jam of Hoya, clearing on the roadblocks in different countries. Once we clear you from Port Bell, another clearance is on the point of arrival. There is no any interception on the waters, and even it is cheap.
In addition to being the cheapest mode of transportation, water transport is eco-friendly and helps in increasing the lifespan of the roads and thus saving governments immense resources on road repairs. The Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency, CCTTFA, has taken the lead in promoting the utilization of the route's multimodal transport system to Uganda's business community.
We are trying to look at the procedures in the port of Dar es Salaam, customs and the port and agencies and the rest, to see how that can be improved on so that cargo moves much faster. Then you are going to have a seamless train carry Uganda cargo all the way from Dar es Salaam to Manza. Now on the Manza, you go on the wagon ferries. It takes between 11 and 17 hours to cross Lake Victoria. The next day you are either in Port Bell or you are in Jinja.
Safe, efficient and affordable transport systems regionally and continentally have the capacity to boost economic growth and trade.
We need to really have a much more agreed and nuanced notion of how together you pursue national interests. It is an area in which we are lacking, and we need to do much more to ensure that our common interest becomes our national interest. It has to be so if, for example, the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is to be successfully implemented.
Dennis Igoa and Juman Samba
for UBC Business.
Furthermore, in partnership with the Uganda National Association of the Blind, Silaom Center for the Blind has offered 20 scholarship slots to the visually impaired students. This was shared by the director, Silaom Center for Blind, Mr. Dongi Cho, in a press conference at the offices of the Uganda National Association of the Blind at Namugongo. Have a look.
Money would be sent to somebody who are P7 who gonna enter the secondary school. And also another money would go to the secondary school, 6th grade, who gonna enter the university. I provided more than 20,000 Braille books so far. I would like to continue make more books for you. Right now, I'm planning to help university students. If they can study well at the university, they can get a job.
Most of our blind children come from very poor families. Their parents cannot afford to have them in school, and many have ended up in dropping out of school because of lack of fees due to the inability of their parents meeting the fees from school to school.
I visited several other countries, but they are doing well, so I'm gonna try to help that countries which do not have enough educational system for the blind. So Uganda, I found, is not yet set up for the education for the blind. That's why I visited here and reviewed, and then I decided to Uganda.
Yes, and that brings us to the end of our lunchtime bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for being a lovely audience. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold. Stay tuned for more news in our subsequent bulletins. Have yourselves a lovely afternoon.
I remember the lockdown. When the streets